Good morning, all. This is actually the first time I've had what might actually be a good idea after just waking up in the morning. The inspiration for this was actually a video that Skallagrim posted. Skallagrim is the person I generally go to for weapons analysis. In the process, one of his latest videos gave me a little pause, so I'm going to put on screen share. This is take 2 after all compared to the other video. But yeah, anyway. So I'm going to post on screen share, and we will take a look at what exactly he's showing. Let's give this a shot.
Alright, so the folks on the AllMe/Man-at-Arms channel have created this very strange weapon, which is supposed to be a combination of every single Ninja Turtle, and it doesn't strike me as particularly practical. I mean, granted, hybrid combination weapons usually aren't. I'll probably make a video about that sometime, but I do find the idea kind of amusing, so I figured, hey, why not take a shot and try what I can come up with. So this is my version. Kind of similar in that I started out with Donatello's bow and attached Leonardo's katana blade at the end, but I just thought that attaching a sai to the end of a chain doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That wouldn't be very effective. So I thought, hey, why not just make it a flail? I mean, flails were in use and they are fairly effective. If you just have a round stick like that, it doesn't matter with what side you're hitting. It's basically just a longer version of nunchucks. And I think the sai is very suitable as a guard. I, in fact, combined it with the tsuba from Leo's katana. So with this hybrid, you get the advantages of either. You have the side protection of the tsuba, and you also have this, kind of cross guard style from the sai. So that way you could catch an opponent's blade, and in general, it would do a pretty good job at protecting your hands, because that's generally the problem when you have any kind of pole arm or staff. If a blade contacts the staff and just slides down, it can very easily cut your hands. But if you have that protection there, it's a bit safer. This here at the end, I gotta say, personally, I wouldn't really do that. It's not the most practical thing. Again, another topic for another video. A kind of blade on either side of a stick. In short, it's a bit too much of a risk for yourself. But yeah, if you want to combine them all, you can. It would kind of work. That way you could theoretically flip it around and use the blade instead, but then of course you would have the nunchuck/flail in your legs. It's not ideal, of course. What I
find particularly interesting about this was actually the remarks that Skallagrim had pertaining to the idea of a weapon on either end. The reason why I thought this was particularly interesting is because of the fact that I seem to remember a particular movie clip from back when I was a kid, early teens kind of territory. I seem to remember a movie where this kind of double-ended weapon blade type scenario was actually used. I pulled up the clip. Let's see if you guys remember this as being as awkward as I do. So back to screen share. Oh wait, this is a review. I'm looking for just the clip. This is the one. Okay, that's twice in a row I've gotten the wrong clip. Hopefully third time's the charm here. There we go. And the hell just happened here?
We'll handle this.
We'll take the long way.
You gotta be kidding me. Come on! Okay, third time's the charm. Here we go.
We'll handle this.
We'll take the long way.
Okay, so other than the technical difficulties of trying to load that clip, including a non-responsive script, there are quite a number of things that I can see wrong with this particular clip. Number one of which, why didn't Qui-Gon Jinn figure out to snap the thing in half earlier? I mean, you know, when they were fighting... Okay, sorry, let's start from the beginning of the clip. Okay, so the whole idea of Darth Maul having a double-bladed lightsaber is that this way he can fight off more than one opponent at a time. This is an interesting concept, except for some minor things that bugged me all the way through there. The first one is when Qui-Gon succeeds in punching or force pushing or whatever it is Darth Maul off a when he pushes him off the higher bridge down onto the lower bridge, and Darth Maul kind of lands holding the saber kind of like this. Actually, I have a Joe staff that I used to practice with, so let me go grab that, and hopefully this will give you an indicator of what my concerns are. Be right back. Okay, here we go. Okay, so imagine for a second that this whole thing here, imagine that, say for example, this is where the handle is, give or take, maybe closer to here. Yeah, okay, so this is so we'll show you, okay, so this is one end, this is the other, and let's just assume that we're in the middle some here with the blade, right? Okay, so the main memory serves that Darth Maul's holding it in his right hand, so it could be like this, and he's falling from a great height, and then he's trying to catch the blade right here. Now, I understand that Jedi might have a slightly greater control due to years of training, but realistically speaking, you know, and yeah, it may not seem like significant that the part of a staff or a blade actually inadvertently touches you a little bit, but there is the first thing that bugs the hell out of me is the fact that again, he's falling from what looks to be 20, 30 feet. So even as a Jedi, yeah, he might be able to take the fall, but how is he going to control for the kinetic? How is he still going to control for the momentum of the blade? I mean, the thing is that he could, you know, I mean, the thing is that if he landed wrong, especially, like, even by a fraction of an inch, this blade, assuming that it's going like this, would have been coming down at the same speed he was. So, again, you know, okay, yeah. Okay, they just told me that this hangout on air will end if I continue to broadcast content that I'm not authorized to use. I'm going to tell Google and everyone else that I'm doing this for educational purposes again, because I'm trying to illustrate the problem with the double sword in Star Wars. Therefore, in Star Wars The Phantom Menace. Therefore, I am using this under fair use, and therefore this is for education. Anyway, back to my original remarks. Okay, well anyway, we do know that momentum... we do know that from Newton's first laws, there is the concept of inertia, which basically means that an object in motion will tend to stay in motion until a greater force acts on it to stop it. So, again, as was stated, let's just say that, for example, again, so we have the blade. Okay, damn it, I don't know why this thing is consistently being a pain. But anyway, let's give this one more try. Anyway, one more time. So as I was saying, so we have Darth Maul falling from what looks like about 20, 30 feet in the air. As he's falling, he's holding the blade right about like this, and then he comes and crashes. Now the thing is, again, it looks like he stops the blade, and there's a bit of a jerk. But that must have taken an incredible amount of years of training. Like, we're talking at least 20 to 30 years plus. The reason why I say this, and what would have happened if he had gone wrong? The reason why I say this is even if the blade just had like stopped here and just had mildly touched him, I know that may not seem like much, or you know that may not seem like much of a problem, but bear in mind that this lightsaber is searing hot. Like it's probably at least the it's probably because of the fact that it's probably a plasma cutter or something akin to that. Plasma is one of the hottest states of matter. It is pretty much what generates temperatures of the sun. So even that thing touching him by a micron might cauterize an entire chunk of his chest, and he might be suffering 3rd to 1st degree burns. Assuming it doesn't slice right through him, even that mild touch would cause him a severe injury, which would, cause him a major effect. So my first response with that is that that's going to be a major issue right there. So, you know, it's like, and also, and actually, now that I think about it, given the way that he was holding it, which was a double weapon type thing, so the handle would have been about to here, his not holding it in the exact, I mean, it looked like he was holding it in the exact center so he could block it, but if he was fighting with double-handed and fell off that 20 to story 30 foot thing, I don't think he would have had enough time to quickly change his hand over to a single block in the center. And see what happens when I do a quick jerk? Like, it starts, like, see what happens when I do a quick jerk there? It almost starts to move, and it touched me on the third time there. Realistically speaking, he would have been hit by that blade, you know, especially considering that he was probably holding the handle off-center. So it's more than likely the left side of the blade would have hit him, and at the very least done a major third-degree burn, if not cutaways into his flesh, and probably taken the fight out of him. So at the very least, that the remaining half of that Darth Maul scene should not have been doable. Now the second issue that I have is the fact, why did it take Obi-Wan Kenobi so bloody long to cut right through the center of the handles? I mean, the fact that he was able to cut that and knock, you know, the fact that he was able to cut that and, you know, I mean, well, first things first, when it cut through, because it was searing hot, it should have gone straight into Darth Maul's skull because of the, just because of the sheer amount of, just because of how easily it cut through. But even that aside, and the fact that it didn't, you know, the fact that the fight lasted way too long, my main concern is, why did it take Obi-Wan Kenobi to cut through that when Qui-Gon Jinn was quite literally right in front of the guy, and he saw, like, here he was fighting either side. When Darth Maul had the double handle right in front of him, he could have quite literally cut through the center right there. He need not have gotten knocked in the head by it, you know. When he was paying attention and came out of the meditation, he should have focused on the center part to take that split cut and either postpone or end the fight. Well, you know, and you know, if not get a killing strike, at least get a disabling strike while Darth Maul was reeling from the fact that he had his blade cut in two. So there are so many impracticalities that I am concerned with about this. Now, there is a good idea for a double-ended staff weapon, but a pole arm that is, you know, the original reason why a staff weapon was created was, again, it was supposed to be an idea of a weapon that anybody could get access to. Where a double-ended weapon, particularly I'm specifically referring to a staff on its own, comes in really handy, is the ability to use both ends of the weapon. If you want to take out multiple but when you're using both ends, it's not like, you know, you're hanging onto the center just. It's also the fact that you can flip it around, act it like a, you know, you can use it for double thrusting, but you can also use it for multiple swings. Let me show you a technique called the 31 Jo kata. This is a technique that I learned back in Aikido several years ago when I took it. I discontinued because of moving and other reasons. But let me actually show you the technique which I know from there. So give me a sec here. And I'm going to, okay, so this guy is not what we're looking for. Here we go. Aikido 31. Here we go. Aikido 31 Jo kata. So let's show the, let's just show the Aikido 31 Jo kata. We're not looking for an instructional. Let's just show a single move of it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah, here we go. This will do. Oh, wait, hang on. Did I remember the screen share this time? Hang on. I forgot the screen share. Good thing I remembered that. Hang on. Let's try this again. One more go. And that's exactly my point right there. If you watch that clip fluidly, you'll notice that there's a couple of major points. There are a couple of strikes around behind, And the thing is that you also have a chance that after you've struck your opponent, you can also hit them in the knee or something behind you. Now, the thing is that also with more advanced techniques pertaining to Joe or bow staff, you might be able to take on as many as 4 people at any given time, or maybe more. Again, if you're really, really good at it and you spent several years training. But the point is that, again, by being able to do flips like that of the staff, you are far, far more effectively able to take out 2 opponents than, say, with that double lightsaber that Darth Maul was using. So, you know, I mean, Skallagrim pointed out a practical thing about you might cut yourself, and also that, again, it's not, you know, there are far more you know, you're likely to cut yourself. It's going to be blatantly obvious if they manage to snap you down the middle, like which is kind of why I'm surprised that it took so bloody long to do with Darth Maul. And thirdly, you know, if you're really looking for a double weapon, a physical staff would be far more effective. Here's another example of a weapon that I think would actually have been far better off if you're looking for an energy weapon that is also a physical staff. Let me look for Andromeda, Force Lance. Here we go. And hopefully it's not the gag of have you seen my Force Lance over again. Yes, here we go. Let me put back on screen share and show you. This is what I would consider a more ideal weapon in sci-fi for this kind of scenario. This is from Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda. This was a TV series that ran for about 5 years out of Canada, and ran for about 5 years out of Canada in the U.S. as well. And this is what a Force Lance was shown as from the series. Let's take a look.
Imagine so formidable a species would need Severin, a Nietzschean, to do their legwork for them.
Agreed. Severin never worked for these creatures. He for the.
And assuming my hangout hasn't ended, we're good. Okay, so the point of this particular weapon, which is what I find far more effective about it, is the idea that yes, there is a core plasma shooter built in. So you do have that energy weapon style scenario, or you do have something that is both. But the beauty of this thing, if you can get it to work right, is the idea that it is both a physical staff for close range weapons. So you have something, but if you notice as well, you know the firing mechanism is only in the very end of it, which means that in theory, if you wanted, not only do you have a bow staff, but as long as it's strong enough, you know, I mean, if it's strong enough to be able to whack someone with in much the same way as a Joe or a bow staff, you should be able to do traditional bow techniques or things like the 31 Joe kata with this while still being able to fire it. So if you're looking for a working double-edged energy weapon, this would be the way to go. And truth be told, you know, I know that Skallagrim's already done a full analysis on lightsabers, and I'll post that in the description below, along with all the other videos that I referenced here. But I still think that a Force Lance is actually probably the best template for a dual weapon that is both projectile / energy and physical. You know, if you're going to do a merger, you know, so this way you have both close range and long range in one weapon, why not go with a Force Lance? And you see why? Because the thing is that you can retract it. It's still high strength. You know, it's still high strength if you can get the engineering right on it. And on top of that, you can do traditional bow techniques. So you know, and on top, and you know and your projectile system is very, very closely compact, and you know precisely where the trigger buttons are. So you're going to guard them a little bit easier. you know, I mean, barring someone with a lightsaber, yeah, a lightsaber can cut through it and render it unusable. But the point is that at least there's a lot less safety risk to you when you're trying to use it with your opponent. And it's anyway, yeah. So double-ended weapons like that, double-ended lightsabers in particular, I have a bit of a pet peeve with, just because of the fact that again they're not that practical. You know, or when I say not that practical, I mean there's really high risk, and more importantly, if you're falling off a 30-foot drop, even if you manage to use the Force to impact, you know, to cushion the fall, you're not going to be able to control the double-ended lightsaber well enough to not get sliced through about here. So, yeah. Anyway, Skallagrim, if you're watching this, I hope this covers the double-ended weapon problem to a certain extent. I'm assuming there's probably going to be more you're going to want to say on it. You know. There's probably going to be more that you're going to want to cover on this that I've overlooked. So, yeah, if you want to run a follow-up video, please by all means do so. And in the meantime, I'll catch you all on the flip side. Peace out.